Good morning, CSL. For all of you who are back in the house for your first time after a year and we haven't met in person, I'm your Associate Minister, Reverend Ben Jamison, and it is a thrill to welcome you home. Thank you for being here. You know, here at CSL, we have 7 core values that guide all that we do. Those core values are love, healing, oneness, abundance, spiritual growth, service, and diversity. And we're focusing on the core value of oneness today. We're also celebrating Memorial Day today as well. And so if there are any veterans in the house who are willing to stand and be recognized, please do so. Thank you so much for your service. And as we celebrate the holiday where we remember those who did not make it back, we are so glad that you are here with us. Thank you for being here. You know, it really is a wonderful demonstration of the power of oneness to be willing to sacrifice your life in service to others, to supporting freedom and protection and safety for people who you may never meet. And so, in honor and recognition of all of those who have given their lives to that oneness, I want to take our core value today to share with you the poem Decoration Day by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Sleep, comrades, sleep and rest on this field of grounded arms, where foes no more molest, nor sentries shot alarms. Ye have slept on the ground before, and started to your feet at the cannon's sudden roar or the drum's redoubling beat. But in this camp of death, no sound your slumber breaks, nor here is fever's breath, no wound that bleeds or aches. All is repose and peace, untrampled lies the sod, the shouts of battle cease, it is the truce of God. Rest, comrades, rest and sleep, the thoughts of men shall be as sentinels to keep your rest from danger free. Your silent tents of green we deck with fragrant flowers. Yours has the suffering been, the memory is ours. In honor of all of those who have given their lives in the service to others, let's take a moment of silence. We are wrapping up this week our exploration of the book of the month, You Are the Power by Kennedy Schultz, and we come at last to the Lord's Prayer. And if we were to look deeply at the Lord's Prayer in a metaphysical context, what we would come to understand is that it's really an affirmative prayer. It starts out with acknowledging Spirit as the ever-present reality, calling it forth into our being and proclaiming the truth that we seek to have expressed in our lives. In fact, if we look just before the Lord's Prayer, the instruction is pray in this manner, not pray using these exact words that somebody supposedly said 2,000 years ago. It's pray in this manner, and that's an affirmative way of prayer. So we could go into the metaphysics of every single line of the Lord's Prayer. I don't know about you, but I've done enough metaphysicalizing of Bible language for a month, and I think it's time to have an experience of what we've been talking about, right? Because last week we learned that anytime we see the Lord written in any biblical context, we can translate that to mean our high self, our divine nature, that spark of life that beats our hearts. So the Lord's Prayer then becomes not the words of somebody else or the prayer of somebody else, but what is the prayer of my highest self for my life? Becomes very personal to us. So I ask the question, what is your highest self's prayer for your life? It's a pretty big question. It's one that's really difficult to answer, especially considering that we are not necessarily used to coming from that reference point, right? We just learned last week that we can use this idea of the seer and the thing seen to help us step back into that reference point by understanding that anything that I can see is not the seer, is not my divine self. And if I set aside my identifications with those things out in the physical world, the only thing that will be left is that divine nature. But we're not practiced in that yet. So we can break down this whole big idea of my life, what is my highest self's prayer for my life, into 4 basic categories: health, wealth, love, and purpose. So what is your highest self's, your most divine spiritual self's prayer for your life in the area of health, or wealth, or love, or purpose? Still a challenging question. So let's come back to where we are very familiar with. What's your ego self's prayer for your life in terms of health, wealth, love, and purpose? Becomes a little bit easier to answer that question, right? It's different for everybody, but generally speaking, probably goes something like this. For health, youthful vitality. For wealth, rich. For love, I want everybody to know and love me. And for purpose, I want to change the world. Anybody good with that generally for your ego's desire for your life? So it's a good starting point. But the good thing to remember as well is that we don't want to disparage the ego. It becomes so easy for us to say, oh, well, that's just the ego and I need to get out of the ego. But friends, our ego is so vital to our functioning here in the valley. And from last week, you know the valley that we're in, right? Think about it. Have you ever been preparing a meal, maybe a salad or some soup, and found yourself at the soup pot putting in vegetables that you cannot remember chopping? Who kept your fingers out from under the knife? That was your ego. There's the typical example of you've driven home but can't remember making a single turn, yet arrived safely. The ego drove your car. Now, I don't recommend handing over these tasks to your ego, right? We really want to be fully present when we're driving or chopping vegetables, right? But the point remains, the ego is what helps us navigate the physical world. And if we set up an adversarial relationship between one aspect of our consciousness and another aspect, we're going to have an adversarial experience throughout our entire life. It is wonderful to have an ego. It's also perfectly fine to put that ego in its right place and to say, the ego's prayer for my life, youthful vitality, riches, everybody loves me and I change the world, and then do the same thing. What am I looking at in the physical world, and how can I set down that identification to come back into the experience that I'm really hoping to get from those physical world things? So let's start with health, youthful vitality, right? The ego looks out at the world and says, look at all these beautiful young 20-somethings who are fit and attractive and hot, and my God, that's what I want, right? That's what the ego wants to experience and express. But again, that is something seen, not the seer. It's the thing we're looking at. It's not what that thing is pointing us to, which is an experience. So if we set aside the physical vision, the physical expression of youth, what we come to is an experience of youthful vitality that has nothing to do with the age of the body. Sure, the age of the body determines how the body looks to a certain degree and how much weight we can lift or how fast we can move. But we all know young people who show up with very little energy. And we all know people whose bodies have been around the sun a time or two who have more vitality than somebody half their age. There are many people like that in this very room. Youthful vitality has nothing to do with the body. It's the consciousness we bring to the body. And so once we have set aside our identification with the physical body to determine, yes, it's rather the experience of youthful vitality I want regardless of my age, we can start doing the Lord's Prayer, the high self's prayer around youthful vitality. And so if you're willing to be bold and do an experiment, I invite you to pray that prayer with me now by closing your eyes. Go ahead and close your eyes and bring to mind that person who for you in your life represents that youthful vitality. That person who you're in their company and you think to yourself, by God, if I could just have half of their energy when I'm their age, that would be fantastic. Do you have a person in mind? As you think about that person, as you think about your desire to have that level of youthful vitality in your life, recognize that life shows up as a mirror for you. And you could not see that youthful vitality in another person if they were not simply holding up a mirror to you and showing you the possibility for your own life. That youthful vitality is possible for you because you can see it in another. And so as you think about that person, as you visualize that person, begin to imagine what it would feel like to embody the youthful vitality that they embody. Not to take it from them, but to generate it within yourself. Can you bring up that feeling? Imagine what it would be like to have just half of their energy. How energized you would feel, how vital, how vibrant you would feel. What would it be like if you had the entirety of that energy that they represent, or even more? Begin to feel into the possibility of youthful vitality in your life right now. Bring that feeling into your body and continue to feel it. Feel it, create it through your intention. And then we pray the prayer, which is a prayer of affirmation. And you'll remember these words from the talk on the 10 Commandments, so repeat them after me as you feel that youthful vitality. That's what I'm talking about. Yes. Thank you. More please. And so it is. Keep that feeling of youthful vitality in your body, but open your eyes. Who's feeling young and energized here at CSL today? What did we just do? What did we just do? We looked out in the physical world, we saw something we thought we want, we took it back into the experience that was pointing us to, and then through our intention, because we are the power in our life, because we are co-creators with Spirit, we created that experience in our body, simply through intention and through visualizing it. And once we had that experience in our body, where would you feel your youthful vitality anyway but in your body? We proclaimed it. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, we said yes to it, and we called forward even more of it and proclaimed it as done. Science has said that the body doesn't tell the difference between an actual experience and a vividly imagined experience. This is why if you imagine having an argument with somebody, your jaw clenches, your heart beats faster. It's why if you imagine sucking on a lemon, your mouth puckers. Yep. Right? So this is how we pray the Lord's Prayer for our life. We go in and create the experience we want, we proclaim it, and then we live it. Now, has your life been completely changed and you will never again not feel less than that? Maybe. But you might have to re-engage with this practice again and again and again until it becomes your natural way of being without having to consciously create it. But we have proven here today together that we can consciously create it. So who wants to get rich? Yeah. The ego prayer, rich, right? Money, 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 money. Now, just like there is nothing wrong with the ego, there is nothing wrong with money, 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 money. There is not a thing wrong with wanting a lot of money, with having a lot of money. More than enough. Hey, na, 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 more than enough. Hey, na, na, na. Right? More than enough is how we maneuver in the physical world. It's a way of travel, a means of movement in the valley. It's wonderful to have it. There's nothing wrong with having it or with wanting to have it. But the thing is, that is not the richness that our high self prays for us. That is a richness of experience that has nothing to do with the bottom line in our bank account. I have had the opportunity in my life to have a number of very wealthy experiences and a number of very rich experiences. And friends, they're not always the same thing. Some of the richest experiences that I have ever had in my life have been sitting around the dinner table with my wife, Sherry, my mom, and my stepdad playing cards. Little dinner table, 2-bedroom condo in Independence, Missouri. And the love, the connection, the joy, the richness of that experience, there is no way to put a dollar value on that. Going to spend Thanksgiving with our dear friends and their kids, completely ruining the mashed potatoes because we put the milk in the slow cooker hours too early. That is a rich experience, even though we didn't eat those mashed potatoes. Thank God we caught it ahead of time. Right? Rich experiences that will stay with me forever, and the amount of money involved was minuscule. So while yes, money is wonderful, and it is right to have it, and right to want it, and right to create it, what we want to create is a richness of experience, regardless of the money involved. So let's pray the prayer. Go ahead and close your eyes. Bring to mind one of those experiences for you that was rich beyond measure. There may have been money involved, there may not have been. It doesn't matter. Just feel the richness of the experience. Remember what it was. And in the remembering, you recreate it in your body, in your felt experience, that richness. And as you begin to feel it more and more, simply through intention, double the richness of that experience. You do it simply through intention, friends. You are the face of God on the earth. You use the power of creation. So use that power of creation to double the richness of that experience in your body. Feel it, remember it, own it, and then with enthusiasm and like you mean it, repeat after me, that's what I'm talking about. Yes. Thank you. More please. And so it is. Keep that rich feeling in your body and open your eyes. Who's having a rich experience at CSL today? Right? And again, we just created it through intention. That's all. Went back into the high self, that creative capacity of life that lives us, and created the experience we wanted, called it forth, claimed it, and so it is. So now we come to wanting everybody in the world to know and love us. And, you may be backtracking on that a little bit, thinking like, well, I don't need everybody to know and love me. Just like a deep and committed loving relationship would be great. Okay, so you want one person to know and love you. Well, my family would be nice too, right? Okay, so one person in your family, and that's it. Well, some friends would be nice. Okay, yeah, deep friends would be good. And wouldn't it be lovely for people, as you pass them on the street, to go, hey, good to see you, hope you have a great day, right? It's everybody. It's fine that we want everybody to know and love us. There's nothing wrong with wanting that. It would be a wonderful experience to have everybody in the world know and love you. The truth is, it doesn't matter who in the world knows and loves you if you are not able to receive that experience. Because we so often get confused and think that the people outside of ourselves who love us are the source of our love. Nobody outside of you is the source of your love, friends. Nobody outside of you can give you any more love than you already are. My wife is not the source of my love. She helps me to turn my attention to the love that I already am. She makes it okay for me to accept my loving nature. Anybody outside of you, all they will ever do is point you to the love that you already are. Because if unconditional love is the truth of spirit, the truth of the universe, and God is all there is, then unconditional love is all there is. And if spirit birthed you as itself, then you are already unlimited unconditional love. You just have to accept it and experience it and give it for yourself to yourself. If everybody in the world loves you, but you can't love yourself, it doesn't matter. And if nobody in the world loves you, but you have managed to open up to that divine loving, it won't matter either. Those are pretty big extreme ends of the spectrum, right? We're not worried about extreme ends of the spectrum. We just want to pray that prayer of love for ourselves together so that we can begin to generate this experience in our own lives. So go ahead and, if you're willing to be a little bit bold, close your eyes. And bring to mind a person, a thing, a place that causes you to feel the love that you already are. Maybe it's a spouse or a child or a pet. Maybe it's a beloved relation or a place. Maybe a particular place that you go where you're in that place and you just can't help but feel love. As soon as you have that person, that place, that thing in mind, just allow that loving to come into your experience. It happens so easily and naturally when you're with them. And just remind yourself that that love you're feeling now is not from them, it is the truth of who you are. And as you feel that love, simply imagine it going out from your heart in a brilliant golden light, and then circling right back around into your heart again. Sending that loving out of yourself and circling it right back around to yourself. As you visualize this and feel the love going out and returning to you, notice that the giving of the love feels as loving as the receiving of it. And the more you give and the more you receive of your own love with yourself, for yourself, the more intense the experience becomes. the more powerful the loving gets. As you circulate it, as you cycle it, as you flow it out and back, it becomes more and more powerful. There is greater love, such love that you begin to maybe think, this is possibly how the universe thinks about me. Maybe in the smallest bit, I'm connecting to that unlimited love of myself, and I accept that love in myself as myself. And as you continue to spin that loving out and back, loving yourself unconditionally to the best of your ability, repeat after me. That's what I'm talking about. Yes. Thank you. More please. And so it is. Who's feeling loved up at CSL this morning? All right. You Are the Power is the book of the month because you are the power. You are the power to create youthful vitality in your life. You are the power to create rich experiences, and you are the power to love yourself so completely that the rest of the world cannot help but fall in love with you because you bring that love with you wherever you go. You are quite powerful, my friends. And then it comes to changing the world. We've already done that today. If you think about it, your world is created by the consciousness you bring with you wherever you go. Your consciousness now has a deeper experience of youthful vitality, richness, and love than it did before. So your world will be filtered through that increased experience. And every time you engage in this practice again, speaking this Lord's Prayer, the prayer of your highest self to the best of your understanding for yourself by intentionally creating that experience, it will become more and more palpable in your life, and everything in the world around you will be filtered through the lens of youthful vitality, rich experience, and loving of yourself. And then to change the world even more than that, everywhere you go will be uplifted by your presence. You'll become the person who other people look at and say, man, if I could just have half of their youthful vitality, life would be great. And they'll begin the practice. Your richness of experience, because you will have cultivated that within yourself, will bring a rich experience to everybody you're with wherever you go. And the love that you emanate will uplift the world. Because you are the power, and you are powerful creators. And so, friends, this is not where the lesson ends. This is where the practice and the power and the adventure begins. Namaste. And so we have another opportunity to engage in spiritual practice of contemplation, of meditation together, to further anchor these experiences into our consciousness and into our very being. So if you're allowing your eyes to close, to find yourself comfortable in your chair, and let the music help bring you to a centered space focused within. So as we breathe into this moment, into that centered space, we know that regardless of the experience we're seeking to have, we are the power in creating that experience. Whether it's love, joy, peace, abundance, grace, gratitude, love, or life itself, we simply turn within. Through intention, through the creative force that was gifted to us. As emanations of spirit, we create that experience within our body, within our consciousness. Proclaim it so and live it going forward. And so as we take time together in meditation and contemplation, there is an experience that you would like more of in your life. You know what it is. There may be many, but one will come forward. And so as we take a moment in the silence, allow that experience to be made manifest in your consciousness, in your body, through your intention and your creative capacity, and feel it together with all of us in the silence. Yes. Thank you. More, please. I gratefully and joyfully accept in my life all of the good, all of the peace, all of the love, all of the certainty, all of the joy, the richness, and the youthful vitality that the divine life of all life has in store for me. In gratitude and acceptance of this good, let's take a deep breath together, breathing it in, letting out a sigh of gratitude. And as you are ready, allow your eyes to open and be here now. You do have an affirmation card on your chair. It looks something like this. Let's go ahead and declare that affirmation together. Together, our Creator who lives within me as the presence of wholeness. And so as we move into affirmative prayer to close out the service today, we turn our attention to that Creator within me as the presence of wholeness, knowing that my life and your life, all life is whole, complete, and perfect in this moment, and that if there is anything in experience or expression that is unlike that perfect wholeness, it is not the truth of who we are, and we can simply turn within, praying that Lord's Prayer that we practiced today, calling forward the experience we seek to have within our body and proclaiming it so, and moving forward into our life powerfully, with the certainty of the entire creative capacity that birthed the universe behind our highest good, behind our ultimate expression of love and joy and peace. For there is only one life, it is with and for itself, and it looks down at each and every one of us and says, "Oh, my beloved, so much more good than you could possibly imagine is yours right now. Open and receive." And so we open and receive this week and share and live and love and celebrate life, knowing that the good is already ours and that good and more good is flowing to us forevermore. We give our thanks and unleash this word into that creative capacity that birthed all of the universe, calling it good and very good. And in gratitude, we allow it to be. And so it is. Thank you so much for joining us here at CSL in the house and online. Share the video from Facebook broadly with your community. If it helped you, it'll help somebody else as well. And join us back here next week. 10 o'clock for meditation, 10:30 for service in the house and on Facebook. Have a wonderful Memorial Day and a fantastic week. See you next time.
Thank you for watching, and thanks for supporting CSL. If you'd like to know more about us, check us out on our website or social media. Blessings.